is it that some people are allowed to say whatever they like and some people are not? I think it's pretty clear. We have a clear bias towards one side thinking they're right and the other side thinking that, hey, why are you coming after me? I'm just minding my own business. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. Label me whichever political affiliation you choose because, let's face it, I'm only on my own side right now. And my side is the side of mocking whatever garbage, hypocritical double standard that I see in entertainment. And right now we're seeing a lot of it in Star Wars and Star Trek, specifically. Both of these franchises are very, and always have been very inclusive of all walks of life, all people, all sorts of people, differences of belief, opinion, everything under the sun. We will be getting into the double standard here with what Gina Carano was let go for versus what a lot of her co-stars are allowed to say and encouraged to say, and how this bleeds over into every single franchise property, every single element of pop culture. And it bleeds over into politics ball. This is not a partisan video. This video is designed to call out the absolute partisan BS and rhetoric that we see in the media, in social media, that is allowed and tolerated and condoned and encouraged in these studios, despite the fact that even the creators of some of these franchises knew better than to demonize and poo-poo and shun and dehumanize an entire group of people. A lot of us actually knew better. A lot of us actually grew up knowing that everybody's opinion has a point and a reason for being, you know, and unless you're in one of these circumstances of these sort of modern day wokier than thou zealots who like to get on their high horse and preach how you're bad just because you were born. You're bad and need to be blamed for something that you had no control over and didn't actually do just because they themselves have a ton of hatred in their heart, just because they themselves call others bad and horrific and just naughty little things, just bad little naughty little things. And I love to use a lot of our Trek actors as a great example of why I think they should know better. They should know better. And even in the case of somebody like Gina Carano, which we're going to get into, don't worry, and how some people are allowed and encouraged to say whatever the crap they want. People are noticing. People are waking up to this. All we got to do is stand up and say, hey, knock it off. Knock it off. She said something that was absolutely right if you were looking and noticing and seeing what is going on today. And I do not like this. I do not like the fact that I cannot be friends with people on a certain side of the aisle because one group of crazy wackadoo people decide that we have to what? Not like them because they're what? Other. Because we're told a bunch of things without ever having any information or conversation with, and just going off of a bunch of little stereotypes about a bunch of cousin humping basement dwellers, as it were, thinking that that's all these people might actually be, which is not the case. Which is not the case if you actually took the time to talk to or notice or see. But then again, I grew up with, Star Trek. We already had a lot of this inclusivity, inclusion, diversity. We already had all of this. That Star Trek was an attempt to say that humanity will reach maturity and wisdom on the day that it begins to not just tolerate, but to take special delight in differences, in ideas and differences in life forms. If we cannot learn to actually enjoy these small differences, to take positive delight in those small differences between our own kind here on this planet, then we do not deserve to go out into space and meet the diversity that is almost certainly out there, right? If we can't learn to get along and understand where the other side of the aisle is coming from, then maybe we don't deserve to get on those spaceships and get off this crapping planet. And, I'm just going to leave the rest of you people behind while we're all bickering about who said this and who stormed that. And I don't care. I don't care. It's not relevant. There's bigger pictures out there. Oh, you're just trying so hard to be oppressed. No, nobody is trying to be hard to be oppressed. The only people who are actually actively trying to be oppressed are the people that benefit from some sort of oppression. The people who actually get something out of it. The people who get attention, clicks, pity, preferential treatment, sympathy, whatever that may be. And nobody actually wants this unless they learn that they can manipulate it to their own advantage. All right, now we're past that. Now that we're past that, how are we going to rail on Star Wars as well? Because we got a lot to rail on with Star Wars as well. I got to pull up some tweets here. Oh, there's a lot to cover in this video. Sorry if it's a little disjointed and all over the place, but it is all relevant to this huge double standard that I'm seeing in Hollywood and entertainment and in society, and I'm tired of it. I've had enough. Not only are the beliefs that everybody was Istonphobic and horrible and disgusting in the past incorrect, they are only being used to divide, to demonize, like I said, dehumanize, and make an entire group of people less than, or labeled as such. Make an entire group of people viewed as okay to say nasty things to, say nasty things about, get your quote-unquote revenge on for something. And it is all based on a bunch of horse hockey that doesn't actually reflect how history really was, because in my universe, people and all sorts of walks of life, everybody loved Star Wars, everybody loved Star Trek. This video has been floating around online about the 1983 audience reaction to Return of the Jedi. And keep in mind, I was 4 years old when Return of the Jedi came out. I was a little bit young, but I always knew Star Wars was for everybody, as was Star Trek. And this just proves my point of how Star Wars, hey, there's a woman right there. She's not exactly, and I don't like that I have to classify and clarify and notice and point out the differences between these people, because every time I've seen this video in the past, every time this has popped up, this is a classic news footage thing. You just see Star Wars fans. Can't play that because of the music. These are people who are lining up to see Return of the Jedi. All walks of life, all ages, all diversities, every single walk of life that you can imagine. And they have this mythology, they have this lie, they have this belief system. Also, this guy says Dark Vader, and it's kind of hilarious because that's what my mother used to say. But you have this belief that Star Wars was only for children, that was only for little 10-year-old white boys, is pretty much how they would like to recite back what the stereotypical Star Wars audience member is. These two look like a couple of women to me.
Give it away to anybody. Do you think it was worth coming?
Yeah. The movie was perfect. It was a
little bit of everybody. A little bit of everybody. Everybody has a shot at the microphone. Everybody is happy. Everybody is in line to see something that they love. And the fact that we have a clear diswant of fans from these franchises, from Star Wars, from Star Trek. How is it clear to me that we have a clear diswant of fans? Well, first off, we can look at what happened to Gina Carano. Why was Pedro Pascal not let go? Oh, because he put his little pronouns and he caved to the little wokey wokes. He caved to the religious zealots who are trying to impose their authority over everybody with false, fake information about your entire fan base, or half of your fan base. And people are calling it out. So this is from Screen Geek, asking why they prefer, this is preferential treatment to people like Pedro Pascal, whereas you have a strong woman with diverse thought who is standing up for herself and wants to speak her own words and saying what she meant by her tweets, which were absolutely true if you actually went and read them. Then no, they prefer male Pedro Pascal over Gina Carano. You know what other franchises do these things? Allow people to say and shun and dehumanize entire groups of people. You saw the thumbnail, you know it's coming. Marina, she's back at it again. We already railed on her, where she basically says Star Trek fans shouldn't be of this political affiliation. I'm sorry. Anybody else labeled a political affiliation they might not belong to because they're just going about their lives. They see people as people. They use their names instead of pronouns. They see people as you're Eric from down the street, you know? You're not just a diversity checkbox. You're a human being with a real valued opinion, and I might disagree with you on something, but I can understand where you're coming from. But I can see you as a person, a colleague, a friend, a whatever you might be to me, a landlord, an employer, an employee, somebody making me a sandwich at Subway, you're still a human being. And the fact that we keep seeing more and more of this one side of the aisle BS, and the fact that they keep getting rewarded and continued to be brought into these properties without being let go, without being disciplined, without being shunned, or without having any consequences, just tells me one thing. This is all a clique. It is a religious cult at this point. That's what it's starting to feel like, where they don't care how horrible and nasty you are. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care about making money. They care about being righteous. They care about their zealotry. They care about all of the things that really, really shouldn't matter and shouldn't make any difference in this day and age. And now she's at it again. After getting her little cameo on Picard, after getting her nice little job and her little security of being invited back to all the conventions to sign autographs and be charging $100 a pop just to sign an autograph and another $100 to take a picture. That's pretty much what we're at with these conventions, by the way, if you've ever gone to one. If you are going, there's nothing wrong with that. Just get your tickets in advance if you do end up going to these, if we ever open up again. But now she's going after the state of Texas for weather. Forgive me if I'm not entirely as political and politicized as most people, but I'm not sure anybody could have really done anything in a once-in-a-lifetime weather snowstorm in an area, in a location that doesn't actually get that kind of weather. We had snow in summer this year, so I've seen some wonky weather. We went from having one of the greatest forest fires in history of my state to snow in summer. We had a once-in-a-decade snowstorm here last November in 2019. So I know how this goes. So now you're going to blame the politics. All right. There's a big difference. If you really, really, really want to go there, there's a big, big difference between people, voting for a gamble that you might, I don't know, have a once-in-a-lifetime snowstorm. That's a pretty slim odds. There's another thing you could point out and say, hey, for anybody who votes for these politicians who allow their cities to be destroyed and burned down, if you really want to get into it, Marina, then those people probably get what they deserve too, don't they? In your opinion, right? Oh, no. They're justified because they're the ones doing it, right? Because they're on your little side and you just hate anybody who's not. You don't need your Beto. A Betazoid? A Betazoid for this shit. And you're British too, so get your fucking British nose out of American politics. Don't you have somebody to go and blame for her own shit on your side of the pond? We don't want you here anyway. And I'm not going to be very inclusive anymore if they're going to label and assume all this shit. Just because I'm a little bit more reasonable, just because I don't think that blaming politicians for every fucking thing that's wrong in your life or blaming the color of your skin is really, really the actual cause of everything, okay? Just because I don't believe all that does not make me one way or another, and I am disgusted that these actors and writers and producers, these Star Trek people, are allowed and encouraged to have their little cults and their little takeouts of people based on hating you for whoever you might have voted for. And I'm disgusted that these people are allowed to and encouraged to show their side of their political affiliation, but anybody labeled not of this side, anybody labeled that they might be on the other side of the aisle, might as well just be as guilty as a you-know-what in Germany in the turn of the century. That's really, if you actually listen to this stuff, and I'm not allowed to even mention this stuff, I'm not allowed to compare, because people are going to and complain, and they're going to be like, she said this, and it meant, no. She said this to point out that if you are allowing and encouraging and promoting an entire hatred of an entire group of people, if you're promoting one side as being the only side that there is, if you're promoting that the other side is less than human, is less than worthy of having a life, having an opinion, having a right to see and think and feel how they crapping choose in a country where we were supposed to have freedom of choice of religion. We were supposed to have that. Isn't that why the Puritans came over here in the first fucking place? I guess that's why we're trying so hard to emulate them now with the censorship and removing anybody who opposes you. That's what it feels like. They're removing anybody who might call out their religion as being bullshit, as being, and I'm talking about the woke religion on this one. That's the only thing that I think you can really gauge from my affiliations here on my channel, is that I am not part of this woke religion. I don't think that I am superior to anyone. And of course, that's going to be labeling me as something in these people's minds by saying, hey, I'm not superior to anybody based on how I was born. I'm not. I don't feel that way. I don't act that way. I don't use that as an excuse to be nasty to anybody like other people I've seen do. And just the fact that I have to call out this one last Star Trek actor. Don't like bringing him into this. I got to call out one more guy, and he's just doing it for attention. Manu, I know you, buddy. I know you. We interviewed him over for Midnight's Edge. He played Icheb on Voyager. He's admitting that he referred to a friend of theirs as a name. I'm not gonna read it. But this just proves my point time and time again. It's a great example of why Hollywood thinks the rest of us are as ist as they are. I say all the time, people are just redirecting their own hatred towards the current socially acceptable prejudices, aka, people who might, be affiliated a certain way, people who might be born a certain way, people who might choose a little less crazy thing in whatever they find important in their day-to-day lives. Maybe they're more worried about taxes than anything. Maybe they're more worried about the economy. But no, if you're not part of this religion that wants to focus on all these other things, you're not allowed to focus on the economy. You're not allowed to focus on making an income. You're not allowed to focus on your taxes. You're not allowed to focus on the actual things that affect you in your life without being called out, shamed, shunned, deemed less than, dehumanized, and labeled by this wokier than thou religion. It is a wokier than thou religion. And the fact that Hollywood genuinely seems to think that all people have these stories where they were calling people names based on some superficial thing, where all Hollywood seems to think that we are like this. That just proves the point that they have no crapping idea what they're doing. And it proves my point that we are headed towards this new society, this new societal norm. And we're already there. We're already in the middle of it, where you can say and do and hate and demonize and make slurs, write out insults directed at a specific group of people because the media, society, the world allows it. Because that is what's accepted. Oh, it's accepted to say you're just an old white dude. I don't want to hear anything you have to say because you're just an old white dude and your opinion doesn't matter for shit.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude.
No one asked you, Bree. Why are you interrupting? Nobody asked you. Nobody wants to hear what your little crapping attitude is. No, nobody wants to hear it. But the point is, when you have that in society, when you have that as accepted, how many years have we been hearing this? Oh, he's just a white dude. He's just a white dude. He's just a white dude. How many generations do you really think it takes for people to start just thinking that old white dudes are less than, are the least important thing you can say and trash and taunt and torment and slur against any of that? Just because now the little wokier than thou religion says it's okay to hate them. Says it's okay to hate them. And I just think that a lot of these people just have hate in their heart, have hate for life in general. They realize that life wasn't fair and they're mad about it. And they're taking it out on whatever ethnicity, affiliation, political group, organization, whatever thing they're allowed to hate. Because it's accepted, because it's okay. And I'm tired of it being accepted. I'm tired of it being okay. I am tired of every single day getting on my social media account and getting some slur based on something I can't control about myself, something I had no control over or choice in the matter. So where do we stop this? How do we end this? I don't know if we can, other than just calling us out, But then again, anybody who does call that out gets fired for calling it out, like Gina Carano. I stand with Gina Carano. She is not wrong and said nothing wrong. And I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.